Okay, guys, I just wanted to just talk a little bit about some of the things that can help your reports. We've talked about this a little bit in the past, but I just want to go over some of these again. They can't be overemphasized. Um, so when it comes to building a report, this really does make a big difference for the sales rep when they're in the home. If they have the right pictures in the right places and good quality pictures and really good notes, it makes all the difference in the world for them. So I'm just going to go through a couple presentations. I'm going to point out some things that can be improved upon. So on this one, this page is pretty straightforward. This is what's called a bar style grill, you guys, and this is what's called a stamped grill. So this is what the customer should have. If they have this, we're going to make a recommendation. Now, if they already have one of these, it's okay to take a picture of it and put it right here. It's a positive finding. You put it in the notes as a positive finding. You don't recommend it. You down in the page where it has the recommendations, you'd put good in that slot so that the customer and the sales rep both know, hey, this is good. There's no recommendation. The last thing you want to do is say, hey, you need one of these when they already have it, and we try to sell them one. It really, I mean, we lose credibility like crazy if we're recommending they buy something that they already have. So if they already have one, great. Take a picture of it, put it in this slot, and then at the bottom in the recommendations page, just put good, no recommendation, whatever, so that there's no confusion there. Um, this slot right here is for their filter. We want to take a picture of their air filter for a couple reasons. Number one, in case you forget to write down the size, which I hope you never forget to write down the size. But if you take a picture of their air filter, we should be able to get the dimensions of the return through that picture. So top slot is for the return itself. Bottom slot is for the filter. Don't need this picture in here yet. Okay, that can go into the duct sealing if that's a page where, or if that's relevant. In this case, it doesn't look like it's relevant because it looks like it's fairly sealed. Now this is an issue because there's a bar here and it's cutting off airflow and it's creating more pressure. So when we replace this with the right kind of a bar style grill, that will actually eliminate this. But that would be something that I would put in the in uh, I would probably put it in the duct pictures or in an additional photo, and I'd make a note of it. I wouldn't put it on this page right here. Okay, so let's go on to the next pages. This page actually looks good. This is a page where we're recommending pressure relief. I like how it says here, no trunk line, home has room for transfers. Great, that's a great note. Um, Good to have in there. You've got a couple of really good pictures there, so I like that. As far as ductwork goes, these are good pictures of the leaky ducts. Um, you can see here that it has not been properly sealed. It looks like the air handler has been sealed a little bit, but the actual connections to the handler have not, and so that needs to be sealed. So this is a good picture. Looks like here, I'm not exactly sure what this picture's for. It doesn't really have um, any notes or anything to it. So if I'm sitting down looking at it with a homeowner and they ask me, well, what is that picture for? I'm not going to really know what to say. There's no notes. So I don't know, even though I've been in a lot of attics, I'm not 100% sure what this picture is indicating. So you gotta, if you put a picture in there, you gotta make some notes. Um, I generally will put little arrows indicating air loss. That's how I like to build my reports. I like this note here. Seams are not well sealed and could use a lot more mastic. That's a good note. But there's no notes regarding this picture right here, and so I'd like to see notes so that I know what that picture is for. Like, don't fill up the page with pictures just for the sake of pictures. If there's an issue there, let us know what it is. Okay, these are good pictures of um, air leaks. This is a canned light. I can see that. I don't know if the rep is going to know that. Um, top and or top middle and bottom middle are both pics that show areas needing to be better sealed. All others are fine. So that does actually need to be sealed. I can see Here, this is probably just part of this picture, I'm guessing. Um, but those are areas that will need to be sealed. If we go down and we look at this page, this is what it should look like along those seams. So we do want to get that picture, or we do want to indicate that that does need to be sealed. Indicate that this is a canned light that needs to be sealed. I always look for wire penetrations. Those are good pictures because it's going to be a hole that's going to have obvious air leaks going down into the space between the walls. So on top of finding these good plumbing pictures like this, let's find a good wire penetration picture. Canned lights are always good. If you can find chases or voids, if it's a two-story home, there's guaranteed to be a place where the duct line from the attic will drop down into this to the first floor of the home, and that will always have a gap around it that needs to be sealed up properly. Usually they might have a piece of insulation or something like that stuffed in it, but guys, remember, insulation doesn't stop airflow. So I look for those kind of pictures if it's a two-story home. Okay. All right, insulation. These are good pictures. I like to see you just stick your tape measure straight down into the insulation itself. Don't move the insulation back and try to take a picture of it showing the depth that way. Just drop the tape measure straight down just like you see here. That's a good picture. We want to get several pictures. This one has 4, and realistically 4 pictures should be enough. But the way the presentation is set up, we want to be able to show the homeowner that, hey, we've been to several locations throughout your attic and we found that you need more insulation in every location. Or if there's a couple spots that are really high, it's okay to take a picture of the high spots, and you can put that in the notes down here where it says, overall insulation levels are about, looks like 6 to 7 inches. You do have a couple locations that are as much as 10 inches. Recommend bringing all insulation up to a level R44. And you'd make that note down here, and then you've got the pictures. So you can have a high, a high picture, a low picture, and then your average pictures or something like that. But let's fill it up with plenty of pictures. We never go wrong by having too many pictures. Thermal images, if you've got them, great. If you don't, sometimes during the year we're not going to be able to have the ability to do thermal images. But if it's a time of year where the thermal imager will work and you have access to it, then use it and add those pictures in there. Just make sure that you're always putting notes. Anytime you take a picture, there's got to be a note, because you might know what the picture is, but the sales rep isn't going to necessarily know what it is, and the customer certainly probably won't know what it is unless there's a note with it. Right here, your job is to tell us what is their average R value. So in this home, it looks pretty simple to take, 6 inches, 7 inches is their average. So you would just calculate what the R value is as 6 or 7 inches of insulation. But you need to put that on this page. That's your job, is to make sure that that is communicated. And so right here in the presentation, you would click on that and you would add in whatever the R value is. Okay, so let's just, for numbers, let's say that this is an R18 as an example. You would fill that in, and that way it's taken care of. The customer knows. The rep knows what they're dealing with, because they're talking to them about bringing their R value up to an R38, which realistically we're going to talk to them about bringing it up to an R44. R38 is the code, but we like them to have an R44. We need to let them know, hey, look, you're not even halfway there. Okay. So moving on here. Pictures of windows. I like taking pictures of windows from the outside. I guess I do that for a couple reasons. I do all my measurements from the outside so that I don't have to worry about moving curtains or blinds or moving around their personal private things. I just like to go outside, get my pictures and my measurements from outside, because I can do it more streamlined. The only time I'm taking pictures from the inside of the home would be maybe with some of the thermals. I might get a couple images of some of the windows with thermals, but I like my pictures from the outside. The homeowner never worries about us taking pictures of their personal belongings or anything like that either. So take your pictures of the windows from outside, just for consistency purposes. I think that's a better practice. It generally will show a better reflection of how much heat is actually hitting that window as well from outside. But yeah, all right. I do like how this indicates which rooms the pictures actually are of. That's really good notes right there. Water heater, these are good pictures. Maybe zoom out just a little bit more so we can see how much room we're working with. But I do like that you've got the yellow label here. We've got the sticker that shows us potentially what year it was built, the model, whatever. So any additional photos? There are none. So here on this page, you know, we're recommending, looks like to replace the return, you made a recommendation for transfer grills, but it doesn't reflect recommendation here. You showed us some places where they do need attic seal, but there's no recommendation. It doesn't indicate to be recommended, so that's an issue. We're recommending a manual duct seal and an aero seal. I just want to understand that a little bit more. And they might need, you know, if it's a two-story home, they may need aero seal on the downstairs and manual on the upstairs. It just kind of depends on the home. All right. This is the last page that I'll review on this particular one. So, you know, seems really interested in home. It looks like it should say how we can help him improve efficiency. That's good that, you know, you're letting the sales rep know that they're really interested in knowing how we can help them. But there's no other notes. Like what more can you tell us about the customer, as far as, you know, what specifically that maybe they were interested in, or what areas of the home they were particularly concerned with. Like those things need to get translated over to this so that the sales rep doesn't have to go digging back through your handwritten audit form and try to understand or read your handwriting and try to figure all that kind of stuff out. The notes page helps the sales rep a ton, and so we've got to make it really clear. Okay, so those are my thoughts and feedback on this particular report, and I'm going to pull up another one and we'll go over another one.